and I try to stop the voices that go round in my head. And I thought you were the one to understand me.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Q. And it's Saturday. And welcome back. It's a beautiful day. We have a special show today. A special guest. If you are a first-time viewer and listener to this show, this is a safe space. Q's Lounge is a space for us to vibe and to connect and to grow and hopefully be enlightened. I first want to give just thank God for this opportunity to connect with everybody, and I hope that you enjoy yourself. And shout out to everybody on Facebook that's watching live and YouTube. And shout out to Twitter. And everybody that's on TikTok who's popped over. And if you aren't following me on TikTok yet, why not? Follow me at Love Quaylen and at Q's Lounge.
It's gonna rain. It's gonna rain. It's gonna rain. It's gonna rain. It's gonna rain.
Be sure to share the link, share the show. Q's Lounge is streaming on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, all the streaming platforms.
Today I made up my mind to get away.
And we gonna get it in, y'all.
Every day I sit and pray. Every day.
Give you guys some time to get settled in. If you are watching this for the first time, again, this is Q's Lounge, and I'm your host, Q. And if you're just kind of like standing by watching, leave me an emoji. Let us know that you're watching the show. I appreciate you guys. Yeah. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Q. Welcome. It's a beautiful Saturday. Everybody from Facebook that's watching, hit me in the chat. You know what I mean? Everybody from YouTube, hit us in the chat. We want to hear from you guys. If you are also watching this in replay, let us know that you're watching the replay. We appreciate you guys for tuning in once again. I'm Brother Q. I'm the host of Q's Lounge. We are definitely going to be having a good time today. We have a special guest, but just to kind of recap, let's see here. Last time we met, we talked about love. We always talk about love, and what today we're going to be talking about a little something different. But last time we met, we talked about love. And we talked about some of the things that we need to break away, the fantasy and the romanticism of love. You know what I mean? And so I just want you guys to, to be thinking about those things constantly. Why do you do what you do? Do you even have good reason? So have good reason, for what you, for everything that you do, but especially those things that are of your heart. And so we'll go back and watch that. That's available again on Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon. Again, all the streaming platforms. Today we have a special show again. I'm just going to go ahead and just jump it off because we got two special guests. We have the executive producer and CEO of Now and Then, Shorty Hoffa, and then someone I know very, 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 very well, my younger brother. Mr. Fit Boss himself, Zimlis Carter. You guys, welcome to the show.
Appreciate you having me, bro. Oh.
Yeah. This show is called Bounce Back. We talk a lot about on Q's Lounge. Just try to share information. Just share a space to be able to encourage people and help us all to grow and to be better and to be thinking. You know what I mean? Let's always be thinking and trying to get better. And so this show is Bounce Back because we all go through things, you know what I mean? And like I've talked about before, we're always like one choice away, you know, from from changing our lives, from bouncing back when we're in a tough season. And so I just kind of want to open up the show, and today was kind of important because we talk about mental health, and we also talk about how they're connected to the body as well. And so today, I got Shorty Hoffa. He's going to tell his story today, and then also Zimblis Carter, who is going to help us with some tips, hopefully, on how to get right. This brother is a beast. Make sure you're following him for all your fitness, just tips and ideas and workouts. So, Shorty, talk to us. Tell us about your story, man. You started a new platform.
See, basically what the platform is now and then, and it's basically just something I was doing on IG Live, where I just interviewed a lot of the people that I knew in the industry, because I know a lot of rappers, I know a lot of actors just from working in the industry since 1988. Back then I was a store runner for my cousin. My cousin is Big Daddy Kane.
Oh, word.
So when everybody would come over to his crib to leave for the shows, like I would be the one to run and go get the food for them and go get whatever they want. That's how I made my little money. So I was able to establish relationships with Nice and Smooth and my man Prince Whip a Whip. Just so many rappers, and I always kept, they always looked at me like a little shorty, and now they see me now and it's like, yo, what up? That's why the name Shorty stuck, because I was always the young dude, but then they end up seeing me like throwing parties and whatnot. Like, yo, Shorty, I know you old man. So it just stuck with me. So that's where the Shorty came from.
Yeah.
But I started this podcast because honestly, I needed something to do. During the pandemic, like everybody else, I was stuck in the house. But one thing about me, I was going through depression at that time, but I didn't realize that I was going through. To me, I was okay. I was a victim. I'm gonna be honest, of what we tell black men every day. Stop crying. Don't let that bother you. What you crying for? Don't run off emotions. Only girls cry. So I was taught, black men, I think, are taught at a young age to suppress our emotions and not show them. And you got to understand, you're playing a role, and playing that role really affected me after a while, because even actors get a time to say cut and they can become themselves. But I noticed I never got that time to cut. I never got time to say, hey, who's Lamar? That's my government name. I didn't even know who I was. I was always operating as someone else. And you end up losing yourself like that. So I ended up breaking up with my children's mother in 99. And then, I moved out, and that was a hard thing. Then I started going to, I was really upset. I was going through it. And, it's a little embarrassing for me to talk about even now. I started going to
therapy. Hold on. Let's talk about that. Tell me why does it feel embarrassing?
It's embarrassing because for any man to say there's something wrong with him, that's something we never want to do.
Right.
Even in your worst moment, you're like, yo, how you doing? You could be feeling tough. I'm all right. I'm all right.
Hey, Z, you ever had that moment?
All day, every day, all the time.
And why is that, Z? Like, why do we say I'm good? I'm fine. Why do you think that is?
Because you got to be hard.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, that's the thing. It's like we're told, like that's not a sign of being a man, showing weakness and being vulnerable. That's not strength, right? That's not supposed to be strength. But the reality is, and I'm sure Shorty going to talk about it, is that it takes a lot of power to be able to be vulnerable. It takes a lot of power to show, let people in and be transparent, because we're always trying to put on a facade of something, right? Because we see ourselves or the world how we believe it should be, and that's based on all the things that have kind of conditioned us to be where we're at. So yeah, so for sure, bro. Like, I mean, I say you can't go to the mailbox if you ain't hard. Remember, it's just what it is,
right?
It's just what it is, man. But that's a big deal. I think, thinking about the fact that how you are perceived in this world has a lot to do to depict on how we actually have to deal with challenges, and it's probably one of the main reasons why there's a consistent level of failure, because we can't get past that. We're not being our authentic self. We're not being who we really are, so we can actually operate in that space all the time. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, and just to add to that, like who we really are, you know what, is that we're human.
Right.
And we're going to struggle,
Right.
and we're going to make mistakes, and we're going to fall, and we're going to cry, and we're going to be weak.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? If you think that you are invincible, like, you know what I mean? Like that's an ego, that's a pride thing more than anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
who we really are is that we're human. I think that, the more that we can grow and learn and to accept our humanity, you know what I mean? And our, whatever that we might be sensitive to, whatever that thing is, the faster, that we can get to our strength. You know what I mean? So Shorty, what happened next, man? I wanted you to tell your story.
Oh yeah, no problem. So, when I went through it with my, with my children's mother, and we broke up. And I'm gonna be honest, look, shout out to my children's mother. Me and her are good friends now. We're real good friends. We live in the same building. I just gave her, I gave her the 2-bedroom, and I took a 1-bedroom. It was better for our kids. Our kids wasn't ready for daddy to be living over here. And, also I didn't want what I went through as a kid for my children. Like, my parents hate each other to this minute. Like, literally right now, they hate each other. I got 2 pictures with my parents. One when I was 2 years old, or maybe 1.5. And then another one when I graduated junior high, and neither one of them look happy to be there. I didn't want that for my children. But I never knew what a relationship was. I grew up in a broken home. It was a lot of verbal, physical violence. And my parents were young, My grandmother raised me. So, grandmothers and grandfathers, you don't see a grandfather hugging up on your grandmother and showing her love. So I'm going to be honest, like, I went from a fighting household to my grandmother's household to being in hip hop. So I really don't know what a loving relationship is. I'm gonna be honest. Like I literally don't know how to love a woman. I don't know. Like, I think you buy her love, but I don't know that emotional side. A friend of mine says it best. She was like, "You were the most emotionally inept person that I've ever loved in my life." I'm emotionally inept. Like, I just don't get it. I really don't get it. But after the breakup, I found myself in my apartment by myself, and all of these thoughts are running through my head, and I started having bad thoughts, And I said, "You want to know what? I think I need to go see somebody, because this is a little too much." And look, I just want to start. I'm not a doctor. I'm not. Don't take what I went through and say this is the blueprint to get to where you need to be. Because depression is real serious. People lose their lives every day, not just suicide over depression, but also due to heart attacks, from the stress. A lot goes into that. So I don't want, I don't take this as a joke. So people, I don't want you to take what I'm saying like as a blueprint. Do you? But what I did was, when I started going to therapy, I just admitted to myself all the lies that I told myself throughout the years. All the lies. People that I wanted to be around, places I didn't want to go. It's my fault. Once I took responsibility for that, I noticed one thing. I allowed all of these people in a space to do harm to me. I allowed that. You know what I'm saying? That's something that I had control of.
Yeah.
But I allowed it anyway. Why did I do that? Because I was looking for something that I wasn't getting from somewhere. And I needed other people to reassure me of who I was pretending to be for them. Mm-hmm. If that makes any sense,
Absolutely.
So it's kind of like you're real hard. You want your boss to see that you're the best worker, but you don't even care about this job. It's not something that you care about, So once you go through that and you say, "Oh, so I do have control of what goes on around me." And then I started apologizing to everybody that I did wrong. Because I hurt a lot of people because of my hurt. I hurt my children's mother a lot because of my hurt. I deserve to lose her. Because when I was hurt, I was doing things that it wasn't beneficial to anybody. You know what I mean? And I think once I started getting help and I started knowing who I actually was, that was when I started seeing, oh, wow, things I say do hurt her. It's not just about me. And I'm hurting the wrong person, you know? And I think that really helped our relationship. And I think that helped us work together a lot better for the kids, you know? But look, brothers, I just want to tell y'all, anybody, look, going to see a therapist is cool. It's nothing wrong with taking care of yourself. You know, my man Marlon Wayans, you know, when I was going through my depression, he called me and was like, yo, Shorty, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I just see a blank number, you know, because he got different numbers he called from.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yo, man, it's Marlon, man. Yo, man, what's wrong with you? Yo, man, your birthday coming up? Yo, man, we gonna celebrate your birthday. Yo, I'm flying you out to Vegas. I'm like, yo, man, we could meet right here in Hollywood. Go have, nah. It's gonna be a ticket waiting for you at the airport. Go to the airport. When? Now. Pack now and go. So I throw some clothes in the bag. He flies me out there. We party for 48 hours. And this is one of the best conversations I ever had with Marlon, because he hit the nail right on the head. I was like, oh, this is going wrong. And then I'm breaking up with my girl. And he said, so your problem is you were fronting to be something that you didn't want to be all your life. And now you don't even know who you are to be who the real you. You know, you became a father. You wasn't expecting to become a father. So we have to become who we saw as our father and try to emulate that. But we're emulating. That's not who we are. You know, you can't be your father, you know, good or bad. You know, you have to be yourself. And what he told me was, listen, you got to get back to focusing on what you like to do and what it is that you want to do and what makes you happy. And when I found those things, it was something I put down for so long, and it was my music, you know, and that's when I started, you know, I said, you want to know what? Nobody else is doing nothing right now. I'm gonna open up my rhyme book. I'm gonna get my beats together, and I'm gonna do my mixtape. And that's how the Now and Then mixtape came out.
Word. You know, it's a really good thing to have people that you have as friends. You know what I mean? We know who Marlon is, but it could be anybody, you know, to be able to just pull you to a side and have a conversation with you and just speak truth to you. And, you know, I have to commend you though, too, man, because, you know, like, I just know for myself, I'm still working on the fact of somebody telling me something about myself. I'm not trying to hear that. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of us, especially even as Black men, we're not trying to hear nothing, let alone from your girl. You know what I'm saying? And so for you to listen to another man pour into you and be able to accept that, I don't know what that, you know, what allowed you to be able to do that. And you might have been at that point. You know, I believe that sometimes we're at a crossroad, you know, and I'm not sure if that time was your crossroad, but it sounds like it may have been. But you had a friend, you know what I mean, outside the family that was able to pour into you and tell you what you needed to hear, because it sounds like it did something for you.
I mean, but it was also you too. You know, you gotta, you know, me and you, we were cool through, you know, a Facebook football post, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, I want to thank you for this. And you don't even know, like, it was a time I had called you just out of the blue, you know? And you answered your phone, you know? And I'm going to be real. Had you not answered your phone that night, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Wow.
You know, that's what a lot of people don't understand about depression. Like, you could be functioning, but then sometimes your mind will get in this place and you'll sit in that place and you'll just grasp every bad idea, every negative thought. And it's just, oh, I could have did this better. Oh, this is going to happen tomorrow. And everything. And sometimes it gets overwhelming. And sometimes you just be like, on the real, Calgon, take me away. You know, I mean, when I called you that day, I was to the point where, look, I'm not saying I wanted to kill myself. I don't think I could ever admit that, even if I wanted to. But I will say I didn't care if I woke up the next morning. That's how bad it was, you know. And to have, you know, just somebody on the other side of that phone call reach up and say, yo, I care about you enough to listen. That meant a lot to me. So, you know, I really want to thank you for that.
Wow, man. See, this goes two ways. You never know what you're doing. You know what I mean? And that's why it's so important to be well. You know what I mean? Because if I'm not well and you call me, one, I don't pick up. But if you call me and I'm in the same space at the same time, you know what I mean? I could be contributing to your pain because of my own pain. So just on a, brother to brother, that that's deep, man. And I feel I don't even, I'm emotional on the inside. You know what I mean? And it's something that I just hope and pray that anybody that hears this message, that I didn't even know you were going to even say that, and I just know how important it is for us to to be well. And I think about, you reminded me how important it is to have good friends and people that you can talk to, that they don't even have to have it all together. You know what I mean? You just got to be, you got to be able to be someone that is like hopefully seeking and believing that there's something more, because you just never know your friend or somebody you meet, a stranger, how much we can, invest or help, at a time that without us even knowing. So I appreciate you sharing that, man. That's real.
No, that's real talk. And I was watching, cause I started following your brother. I started following Zim on Instagram.
Oh, wow.
And I watch a lot of his posts, and it was something that you had, Zim, that was really it really struck me. You were mixing one of your drinks and getting ready to go to the gym. And I'm paraphrasing here, but you said something like, people always ask you, how do you stay energized? How do you keep going? How do you keep doing this? And you said, instead of me saying I gotta go to the gym, you say, I get to go to the gym today.
Mm-hmm.
I get to work out today. And it's just that simple. It's like you're showing thankfulness to God that you have the ability to do something. We all have that in us, but I don't feel like doing this. Why don't you feel like doing it?
Right.
You have the ability to do it. And believe it or not, that little thing right there was another spark that really helped me finish the album. It was just like, well, why can't I go and get all these people I want and put them on the album, put together a dope album? What's stopping me?
Mm-hmm.
I get to do it. It's not a hassle that I got to do it. But that's where I found my joy. I started getting happy again because that was my happy space. And I realized doing banking and, because I work for, banks now. That's how I make my living. Doing banking and doing this and all of that is cool, but music was my love. And I put it down to become all these other people for everyone else. And I totally forgot who I was.
Mm-hmm.
So that helped me get back to who I was.
Z.
Yes, sir.
What do you have to say, man, about just perspective? Like, you basically, what does it mean to you have the choice? Like, how important is your perspective on your health, and how important do you believe your perspective is on your on your mental health?
So I think the first thing is is listening to Shorty. It's really about the reflection moment, right, and having clarity. I think a lot of times I'm working on this new project where I'm going to help people. I'm going to let's just say I'm going to throw a number out there. I'm going to show you the 20 ways to fail, right? Because people can identify problems better than they can identify solutions. And if I talk to someone, right, and I tell them, hey, what did you do to be successful? You did that? Okay, don't do that again, right? Like, do the opposite of that, right? What I'm saying is, because at the end of the day, when we start really thinking about what kind of puts us into place, it is a point of view. It is a paradigm shift. It's seeing it from a different direction. It's almost like when you just turn your head a little bit to look a different way. It's kind of what you're doing, because if you keep looking at things the same way, you're stuck in a rut. That's where you continue to build this mound on top of you, where you feel like there's no way out. But the reality is that there's always a way, right? And it's just, you got to see it differently. Now, I think the biggest part, and again, I'm gonna go back to, like, I'm no therapist, what have you. I'm a fitness and nutrition coach, but I realize that what I do differently is I help people realize these things that get them stuck, right? I get them unstuck, right? I understand that a lot of the things that they start with your mindset. The initial way to be able to make change starts with your mindset. It starts with that part. And so, because I incorporate the body, we can get into that later, but just stick to Shorty's point is, when I talk to people and I understand that they may have a weight issue, it's always the outside things that we focus on and not the inside things that actually make the difference. And so one of the biggest things that I think that help people is understanding, like, once we stop trying to chase the thing that's out there, that glory, that facade or who we want to be, and judging ourselves based on the reflection of the world says, and really start to think about how we make decisions and our behaviors of what we do every day, then we can start actually making, some creating some momentum to have change. And change is not something that just happens like a light switch. Change is a process, right? And I think, like what Shorty's talked about is, going through depression, and even saying that that's a hard thing to say too, right? Because it's like you didn't even notice it, but then when you say, well, I'm dealing with depression, it's like you're putting that on yourself. But then what does that mean? How do you empower yourself through that? And I think that's where, sometimes where, it comes down to where you do need a coach, or you do need a therapist. You need to go talk to somebody. So somebody that's going to be able to look at it and give, care about what's important to you, understand what's the best for you. Because, one thing I'll say, and it's crazy because I love the fact that, when you point out that post, it says, hey, you get to do these things, right? I also realized too, is that even with that, we have to be careful about who we're coming to confide things in, because you got to know, like, not everybody around you wants to win. As much as they say, oh man, you're doing great, they just don't want you doing better than them, right? That's it. They want you to see you do well, but they don't want you to do better than them. And so when you get to a point in your life where you have a solid group of people, or people that you can go to, or a person, that's a blessing. But it's really about really understanding, like, all that work that we talk about, really starts from a place of clarity, and acceptance, reflection, and any lessons that we can learn. When I use that word, I kind of replace it from failure, because what we have to look at is, we can look at our lives, like we can go back and charter the last, 10 or 15 years and think, how could we have done things differently and better, right? But if you don't take that time to look back and see how you could make changes, then you're kind of just, setting yourself on the same path. And sometimes the direction you're going is fine. You just got to look at the core, right? Maybe you're heading the right way. Just maybe you got to look at the core and be a little more innovative about how you, process your direction from there.
Yeah, depression is a real thing. Shorty's been going over this, and what I believe about depression is that there's a lot of people that are listening to this right now who are at that place where Shorty was at, not identifying with it, because I've been there myself. I challenge everyone that is watching this, and anyone that you love, to look up, just Google clinical depression. And if you look at the signs of clinical depression, there's a lot of life habits, routine lifestyles that you'll see connected, to clinical depression. And all of them will lead back to the things that Shorty has mentioned, and also lead you back for what could help you is taking care of your body. A lot of things that deal with, again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist. I'm just saying you can just plainly look at it and read it, and they're very common sense things that you'll see looking at the description of clinical depression. And so the one thing that I want to get out is that you oftentimes are having a tough time because you haven't had that self-reflection and that check, and I think it's important that you have a friend. Now we talked about a friend, and now we've talked about a therapist, and now we're talking about a coach. Get all three, and also we talked about not just any old friend, because I've been talking about this on Q's Lounge. We want more than an associate. We want people that are trying to lift you up, and that's what this space is about. This is why I always say, if you have a man in your life that you love, share this podcast, because this podcast, with everything that's already happened so far in this podcast, this is something to lift and uplift people. And also in this space is intentionally to try to uplift men, because we don't talk about our feelings. We don't talk about what's going on. And so you compound and really kind of like, allow depression to really sink in a way that can be generational. You pour these things out into your kids because you don't have these outlets. And so So good friends, quality friends who are doing the things that you want to do, you know, that have a mindset that's the one that you want to have, you know, that have aspirations and are living, you know, certain ways that you want to, you know, and not to do it in a way where you're, you know, condemning yourself because you don't have it, but, you know, someone that will be open, you know, someone who is versed in these mindsets and this mindset and these lifestyles of living healthy and whole. Shorty, after you watched the video, you said this changed your life. What was your bounce back? Tell me about your bounce back. I mean, it sounds like the bounce back, first of all, sounds like just coming into understanding that I got this issue that I need to deal with, right? And so tell me what happens next.
Sure. Well, you know, I wanted to touch on something before I even go on to that. Where you spoke about some of the signs. All right. That's something I wanted to speak about. Now, you see my Facebook page for many years now, right? Yeah. All of those pictures are lies. Every last one of them. It was a lie. I was smiling. I wasn't happy. All right. Here's some of the signs of depression, just so that people know. There's different kinds of depression from what I've learned. All right. There's two different kinds. One, you can be depressed about a thing or a situation. You need help to get over that. Death of a family member, loss of a job, something like that. That's a situation. Mine's is chemical. I have a chemical imbalance. So I'm actually supposed to take medication for this. But I refused to take it because when the lady gave it to me, first of all, she wasn't even a medical doctor. And she had a 30-minute meeting with me and decided that I should get 4 different medications, and each one of them could possibly bring on thoughts of suicide. Now, if I'm feeling bad, I don't want to feel like I want to kill myself. Like, that doesn't sound like a good deal, you know? So I took the hard road in this. You know, I took the really hard road to do it just raw, you know? And some of my signs were, you don't want to eat. You don't want to do it like regular tasks, like honestly getting up to wash up. Unless I was going to work, it wasn't necessary. Yeah, that's how bad it was. That's how bad it was. You know, you leave stuff in chaos and you got clothes all over the place. You know, people that are messy. To me, that's a form of depression. Because anybody that's a lover of God and loves themselves, we always have a clean area. You know, we pride ourselves on that. So it's more than just putting on clothes and getting dressed in. No, it's more to it than that. But my bounce back came was once I went through the therapy, and I still go to therapy monthly. I'm gonna let everybody know therapy is a regular thing for me. At first I was going weekly, now it's to the point where I go monthly. The thing you said about finding friends that want to do the things that you want to do, the key to it is you don't even know what you want to do because you don't know who you are. So you have to drop this shield of I don't wanna and say I want to experience something new because I don't even know what I like. You know, you might say, "Oh, yo, man, come on, man, let's go ride a bike." I don't want to ride no bike. Well, why don't I want to ride a bike? It might be something nice, you know. So you have to prepare yourself to be open for new things. But like I said, find that thing that you like to do, something that you like. Nobody else has to like it. You know, you don't have to post about it. Nobody else has to know that you're doing it. It could just be something. Look, it could be a dude your brother's size, you know, Zim size, and he could probably like crocheting. If you want to crochet. Do that, but do something that makes you happy. And another thing, I just wanted to point out before I go, because I don't want to overtalk. My stepfather told me something. He said, you know, life is really simple. And I was like, what do you mean life is simple? He was in Vietnam. He went to Vietnam at like 18 or so. No, he was 17. He lied just to go to Vietnam. But he said they mentally prepared him for something. He said, you know, we react off of words. Like humans, we're trained to react off words. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like if I say stop, but the first thing you're gonna do is stop, right? If I tell you run, first thing you're gonna do is run. If I say fire, you're gonna look around, you're gonna try to run. We operate off of trigger words. So if I tell you that there's a problem, the first thing you do is, oh man, you tense up. Let's figure this out. What's going on? But in reality, there's no such thing as a problem. It's just situations that we never experienced before, and we just wasn't prepared for it. So now we have to figure it out on the spot. That's all a problem is. It's a situation that we never faced before, but we have to deal with it right now. And you got to learn as you go. You know, so stop looking at problems like it's a problem and start looking at it like, oh, I never experienced this before. Let's see what happens. You know, and also get rid of your enablers. The things that you don't like about yourself. Like, I have friends that all they want to do is smoke weed and hang out. When they came with, they enabled me, giving me weed, smoking me more. Yeah, I still smoke weed, but not like I used to. I mean, you talking 10, 15 blunts a day. Easy. Of this California stuff. Easy. And I wasn't enjoying my life. What made me kick out of it, my daughter was asking me, Dad, for months. That had to be like 6 months. She was, Dad, can you teach me to ride my bike? Can you teach me to ride my bike? Can you teach me to ride my bike? And one day I didn't have any weed. And I was going crazy, just sitting there, you know, full depression on. I'm like, you want to know what? Come on, yo, let's go outside. It took me 15 minutes to teach her how to ride her bike. And I sat there and cried. I said, I spent all this money on weed for all of this time, wasted all of this time when I could have just gotten all of that happiness and taken 15 minutes to show my daughter how to ride her bike. But I spent money on weed and ignoring my family. For that time, I could have had my daughter on my lap or taken outside late at night to ride a bike. And I didn't do that. I chose to smoke weed and get drunk, thinking that that was going to take away my unhappiness, but it didn't. It put me further in my unhappiness. So you have to change the way you're living. You got to do new things. You know, the first thing I would do now, the first thing I do before I do anything, I pray, and then I get up and I take a shower. Because taking a shower washes off any negativity of bad things from yesterday. So now I'm starting my new day. And that's just how I start mine off.
Man, you are going to be back on Q's Lounge because you sound like you are from my planet. I do want to say that the part about the problem that you mentioned, I really think that that's a good way to, because, you know, the Bible talks about how we have to renew our mind and refresh our minds. And it's really hard, you know, like these things you're talking about, they're hard to do. But when you get for yourself, right, you've got this part where you talked about it's really not a problem. And I wrote down, you know, what if we just saw the problem as though it was a journey, you know, like this is an adventure. This is like, oh yeah, this is going to be tough, but this ain't going to tear me down, you know? And one of the things too, and Z, I want to get your, you know, your comments on this, is that this lifestyle, smoking, doing nothing, you know, you seem like naturally you've always been a thin guy from what I can see. And I know that some people, if they're not doing anything and they're smoking and they're just living however, it's going to create, you know, the heart issue. It's going to create the diabetes. It's going to create all these other things, especially, you know, certain things that, you know, Black men have had to deal with. Z, I guess I want to find out from you, when your clients come to you, do they come to you and like, where Shorty's at that crossroad, he's, you know, coming into awareness? Are they letting you know, like, what is it like when you meet your clients? What are they looking for? And do they talk about their mind? And
yeah, no. So what happens? So I talk to a lot of people. So there's people that are my clients and there's people that I don't. And I talk to both, right? And a lot of times, you know, people are coming to me because they just want to, you know, lose weight. That's just what it is. I just tell me what I got to work out and tell me what I got to eat. But because I do things differently, you know, we get in a conversation just to talk about where they're at and what is important to them, and really trying to get to figure out like what's going on in their life. And the biggest thing I can tell you is that there's times where I'll start a conversation and I have to remind someone, it's like, you realize, I just want to remind you, this is a fitness program, because it does start to talk about like where they're mentally stuck and maybe have dealt with depression. But here goes the bigger thing from that standpoint is Bro, when people come, their level of confidence, their level of self-worth has a lot to do about how they look and how they feel. And people think that once they were able to, lose that 20, 30 pounds or more, figure out like they're, like I just had a guy right now, literally, where we were talking about, hey man, like we're responding to you on Instagram, was like, I think I just need motivation. And we're always going after stuff like that. That's false. It's fool's gold. Right. And it's always these little like band-aids instead of really dealing with the problem. One of the things I'll say is that because I truly understand that, depression, clinical depression, all that kind of stuff is a serious thing. I've partnered with people that I can send my clients to help them, because I want to be able to stand in the gap to be able to help them between that. But the reality is that what I do is I help people understand, when you get a coach, how I can guide you, how I can help you, do the things, create the behaviors. Now, if you need to talk to somebody and get real clarity and understand how to deal with those things, that's where a therapist like, Shorty talked about, will help you. But in terms of making practical changes in your life to be able to pull yourself out of that, because depending on someone else to get you out of that hole, you're never going to do that. It's about you. You got to do it. And that's probably right. Quite Q is that when we talk about, you say, hey, people, it's really hard. It's like, it is. But once you start putting the pieces together, lifting yourself out of the mud, out of the dirt, becomes a lot easier. But it's not about this big old thing you have to do. And that's what I start teaching my clients. It's like, you don't have to go and accomplish remove depression tomorrow, right? It's not about, what's the quickest fix or the hack. It's about, let's do things, small things that are going to start making you feel better. Most of my clients that get into my program, within like the first week or two, they're just like, oh my God, I feel so much better. I feel more motivated. I'm like, you feel more motivated, you feel more energized, you're starting to change how chemically your body is reacting to food and exercise. So those things, like those hormones, start kicking in, and it plays a huge difference on a person's ability to be able to do what they need to do. And, when you start really putting together a lifestyle, what it turns out to, right? Like getting to a position where you can actually start changing your life because you are feeding yourself well, you're moving, you're doing things that are going to, even when you look back at a few days or a week and say, I did that, right? You can start to have those accomplishments, and that momentum that's built behind that takes a person to a whole nother stratosphere. So when they even if they're dealing with something and haven't got an answer, they might even be more willing to go look for more help because they're starting to build momentum in other areas of their life. So, I got into the fitness space because I realized, as I was, doing the whole coaching and human optimization, is that, I can help a person, I can help a business, but I got to help the person. The person's got to be like, they mattered more than anything. And it's just the same thing. Like if you're watching this right now and, you're a parent, you're a husband, you're a wife, at the end of the day, you're sacrificing yourself for everybody else in your life, but you're the one that matters the most. They care about you and need you, but they need the best version of you. And that comes down to you really realizing like, hey, I got to take a different stand in my life, and I got to start taking care of myself. And, the excuses or even looking for false things like motivation, what you really need is just to start doing things that are little. I like Q, I always try to just give a little bit of value when it comes to like what I do. And I will say this, when my clients are stuck, I talk to them about this 5-minute action. I said, what could you do right now for 5 minutes that will help you not only like, focus towards your goal, but something that's not going to take, because everybody looks at their goal, and it's a really big mountain to climb, and it's really daunting, and it's scary, and it could literally paralyze you, because you're looking at it going like, there's no way I can do that. But that's not what you have to do. It's just like that saying. It's like, can you see far off? Like you can see it, but really the most important thing is that can you see right in front of you? And if you see right in front of you, take that next step. And I always tell people, it's like, time is going to pass. And just like anything we go through, sometimes those emotions, those hard times, those moments like Shorty talked about, we this problem just existed. It's temporary. It really is. And so the thing that we know we can count on is the time is going to pass. And what we do with the time allows us to be in a better place as time continues to go on. So it's really like, all it is the one thing. It builds such a large level of momentum by doing simple stuff consistently. People want to be disciplined. I need to be disciplined. I was like, no, just win that next little thing you can do and just repeat it. Right. And that's where it comes down. So because, I'm listening to all this, bro. And I've learned to be better at coming from the place of empathy. Right. And understanding that I may not understand everything someone's going through, but I'm empathetic. You know, I've never weighed 400 pounds, so I don't know what that feels like for someone to weigh 400 pounds and what they have to go through. But I'm empathetic of that, and so I ask them to talk through it. But I'm also a type of person where I'm going to say, listen, if you wanted that coach, you wanted that guy that's going to make sure that you can see what you need to do, not what everyone else needs to do, but what you need to do next. I'm going to make sure that that next thing is the right thing, and I'm going to get the distractions out of the way. That's the biggest thing, is stop being so distracted, because that holds us back. When I say distraction, it's not necessarily like, you know, you're playing video games or you're doing something. It's people in your life, it's things in your life that don't equal what you need and what's the most important to you. Priorities. It's about making sure you know, protect your energy, protect your time, protect your focus. And those are the things that allow my clients to then get into my programs and go, you know, sky's the limit, if we even call that the limit, right? But that's where we make change. And when we start talking about all these things, from dealing with personal obstacles, depression, whatever those sorts are, when someone is in the position of really getting to a place when they really need help, this is like the very first thing they have to do is really just tell themselves, like, I'm going to make a change and just go do it. And I know that probably sounds easier than said than done, but it's like, even if that means, you know, like Shorty said, getting up every morning and taking that shower as a part of washing off, as a ritual, washing off, having clarity. You know, I do the same thing, Shorty. I wake up every morning and pray to God, you know, and I make sure that I give him my first, but I also make sure that I take the time and clarity, and I set my intentions for the day, because I know that if I just start my day and let the world control me, then I'm going to be running my life not in the way that I want to, but the way the world wants me to, right? So, you know, I can go on, Q. You know, I could.
Yeah, no. So yeah. And that's that living water. I tell everybody,
Right.
drink water. That's that living water,
Right.
and wash your body in living water,
Right.
and it will wash it'll wash the trouble away. But you got to allow that to happen. So mindset, you know, perspective. These are some really good things. I do want to just, you know, we're gonna have to be, you know, going soon. We have so much. This is a great conversation that we probably need to come back again. But Shorty, you got something that you just rolled out, man. I want you to let the people know about what you're doing right now. You have the mixtape, and you got other things that are going on right now. Can you go ahead and just share what you got going on? Hold on 1 second. You're muted. You're muted, Shorty. Start again.
I forgot I was muted.
No, it's all good. So now you got to start from the top. Start from the top.
Yeah. So the Now and Then podcast mixtape, I have it out on my own website. It's called the Now and Then Show.com. You can go there and you can get the album. It's basically a collaboration of all the dopest MCs that I interviewed on my Instagram live. I got, you know, Sadat X on there. You know, my other group, United, they got their album up there. I got a song, you know, with Kane on there. You know, I wanted to take a lot of new artists that weren't really getting the credit, or even had a studio to work out of something, and give them this platform and give them real high quality beats. Not just, you know, I'm not just no other producer, but not something that you pay somebody $5 for. I'm talking about like a real hard studio beat. Gave them direction. Here, work with this, you know. And a lot of them, not a lot of them, all of them came through for me like a racehorse. So I hope everybody enjoy the album. Also, the site is being built up next, because I'm creating it where artists will be able to upload their music, and I'm going to pay them 80% of their royalties, as opposed to them getting pennies on the dollar somewhere else. And I think that's the strength. You know, everybody's asking, well, how could you afford to run your business if you're giving everybody 80%? They have you fooled like they can't do that. Think about it. If you get even 500 people to sign up for your site, and everybody's giving you 20%, you got 20% coming in from 500 different avenues, and everybody could be making, you're not losing any money. Everybody's making money. They're going to be happy to work with you, and they're going to work harder because they're seeing their money, you know? And I think the problem with hip hop is that we let the middleman take over the business. We let the guy, the lawyer that's making the deal for us, get all of the money, and leave us nothing. And what I mean by that is basically when you go sign a record deal, it's called 10 points, right? So the first 90 points are gone. That's gone already. Your record company gave you that $1 million signing bonus. Okay, that's called a signing bonus for a reason. They gave you $1 million, but you don't have $1 million in your pocket for you to handle. No, that $1 million for you to spend on the producers, your studio. You got to take a little bit out of that to live off of. You know what I mean? And you can't use your homeboy studio. You got to use their studio, which is like $200 an hour, maybe more. And they're gonna block you time. Not I get 4 hours for it. No, they're gonna block you a whole week, 24 hours. So you going through there with your homeboys, y'all drinking, y'all smoking, y'all thinking of a song. Let's see what we gonna do. That's money out of your pocket. That's why you see a lot of these rappers, they end up doing 2 and 3 albums, and then they don't even own the rights to anything. That's what that advance money is. They want you write the words, you sing it, but we're gonna own it. So now anytime it plays on a commercial or anything, none of these people get money. And I think we should have learned that from the rappers of the 80s. Some of the most classic stuff that's out, none of those rappers are getting money off of it. They only get money when they perform. And I think we need to change that. And I think that's what I want to do. That's one of the things I want to do, you know, with my website. You can keep all of your own money and only give away 20% of it to me for distributing it. And you keep the rights to it. So now if somebody hears your song and they want to put it in a movie, guess what? You get all that money. Universal don't get that money. You're going to get it. And I think that's one thing I want to do. I want to change our mindset. We can do it on our own. We don't need these other people to come in and distribute, because all they're doing is distributing the music for us. We're the ones dancing. We're the ones that's making the music. We're the ones that's going in the studio. We're the ones that's coming out of our pocket. But just to think on a small level, a friend of mine in Nigeria, his name is OBM Rumi. He has that song on my album called Grown Man Trips. And when me and him are talking, because I've never been to Africa, he's never been to America. And when me and him were talking while he was doing the song, I looked at his studio. You talk about somebody that does so much with so little. The dude has 2 speakers, a laptop, and a mixing board. And he did that with that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Mustard seed, brother.
Let's go to mustard. He did that with that. So, and I look at somebody like him and I said, now imagine if he's getting 80% of his royalties in American money sent over to him. Imagine what he could create. And he don't need nobody else to give it to him. You know, and I'm also thinking about the young kid in the projects and, you know, in Brooklyn that was like me, you know, saving up your allowance money to go to the studio. Well, guess what? It's a difference when a record company goes and talks to a kid that's making $5,000 a month on his own, selling his own music, and a kid that's not making nothing. You can't trick them with the same carrot. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be the way to empower our people, empower hip hop, and for us to take back what's really important, and that's, you know, your intellectual property.
And it's our music, because that music came out the gutter. That, you know what I mean? Like, and there were also black musicians before hip hop. You know what I mean? That still never got paid. Music's being used in that way as well. You know, you're also, in a way, like the empowerment also too is a lot of artists are lost and confused and feeling kind of like left out because they're not being, you know, recognized, or the money doesn't pay well. You know what I mean? And so in a way, what you're doing as well is going to be able to empower and keep people and help people to be encouraged to hopefully keep them from depression, because music is something that I've always said in my platform has healing powers. I mean, it's healing you. Just, you know, doing the music has been healing you. And so there's more proof in that as well. Z, you've got some things cooking up too. Let us know. Let the people know what you got going on.
Well, first of all, I need to go spit one for Shorty. Let him know how I get down, you know.
Let him know about the Figo Fago Fuku.
The Figo Fago, yeah, bro. Hey, for real, you know. I'll surprise you, bro. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, no. So the one thing I want to say, first of all, I don't like this word try, but I want to say this because I think it makes sense. I think, in any situation we're talking about is, I want people to be willing to try and to fail and try again and then fail and try again. Because, if we're looking at it, failure is a fertilizer for success, right? We need it to grow. I think that ultimately at the end of the day, we're going to have regret. And I think also regret is okay. And it's expected, right? Because you can look back at things and kind of say, I wish I could have done this, what have you. Regret is also a component of failure, and it gives us the fuel for our lives too, the lessons that we get out of it. And one of the things I'll say is that, when we're looking at our lives and whether or not we've been able to accomplish the things we want, or we're still on a mission, this is a process, this is a journey. And like you said, Q, when you look at things, it's like, look, these things are just part of the makeup of what it takes to get to where you want to go, right? But I think if you don't have any regrets, I think you're not trying hard enough. I really think that's the case. And I think that when we're dealing with any set of circumstances or challenges, your best thing you can do is ask for help. But what I want to get at, and I'll just say this, is that, I'll be real clear. I've been for so many years, wanting to be in the place that I'm at now, to be able to make an impact in the health and fitness industry, to be not like everybody else and just say, hey, I got a workout program and I can give you some meal plans that you can get in shape. I do all have that, but my whole thing is that I want my fitness program to impact your life, the entire thing. I look at the whole person. And the biggest thing I can tell you right now is that there's a lot of men out there that, like myself, who are former athletes, who have, the game ended and their focus went to their career, their family, and all that kind of stuff, and they forgot that they're an athlete. And one of the things I can tell you is that part of even depression is the fact that we had to let go of who we were, identifying who we were, and now be this new person. And me working with former athletes, and that's men or women, but I know that challenge for myself, giving it just a quick 1-2. I think the fact that I went through these things, and I had to, like I used to say, people like Z, you going to the league, baby? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to the league. It's on. You work so hard for that, and then you get to the point where you're like, that's over. And I've always had this thing. I kept telling myself, I'm gonna go to the league in my life, right? I'm gonna go to the league in my life because that's the highest level you can actually reach. And what I realized is that I had to make some changes, and I needed some help, and I got the help, and I got educated and learn how to do the things I need to do to make my life better. But it really came down also to, for me, really looking at what was important to me the most. And, having a family, being a husband, and being a father, all those things that God blessed me with, also told me that I got to be the best version of myself. So I've always believed in leadership, but the one thing that I believe in the most is that sometimes people just need a model. And one of the things I want to do in my life is continue to be that reflection of that, how I lead my life. And so when I help people and people come to my program, it's not like I say, hey, because people are like, bro, I can't do your workouts. I'm like, that's not what the point is. Is like, I'm going to help you exactly where you're at. And that I'm going to meet you there. Right. And help you through that process. So, if we're, for me, what my program is, the evolution of what I'm doing is to be able to help as many people as I can, because I also know that there's people that, where money might be an issue, where they can't, it's hard for them to, afford a coach to work with them one-on-one. I'm going to create opportunities for them as well. But at the same time, too, there's a lot of people sitting around making excuses and doing the things they're doing. And I'm saying to you, like, the one thing that can make your life change in a heartbeat is prioritizing your health and fitness. And I think as Tanisha even wrote it in here, is this understanding it's more about more than your body, right? And be able to have that spiritual and that soul connection. That's a huge thing, man. So to my point, Q, and just to kind of, kind of put the end on this, is that, I really believe that if you walk away from this, I think one of the biggest takeaways I'm getting from this is that being honest with yourself. Right. And having clarity. I always tell people, like, there's some people I don't work with because I'm like, you're not willing to get to the truth. Right. We can't fix a problem if you don't know what the problem is. Right. And so I would say really focus on that. And when it comes from a health and fitness thing, is like, a simple thing like this. We all know that we got to eat better and we got to exercise. But why don't people do it? Why is it so hard? And one of those things, if you have, and you don't mind me saying this, if people are watching this right now, and you're stuck in that position where you're kind of like, I need motivation, I know I need to do better, but you don't want to do just for this platform. Like I'm going to offer out, I do these 15-minute, 20-minute conversations. It doesn't cost anything, but have people reach out to me, bro, because, I can help you work through that, help you get clarity. And hopefully from that conversation, you can start putting yourself on a path to a better, healthier life. And if it's dealing with your mental health, but you want to make sure that you're taking care of your body first, I think that's great. And I'll say this to end it. In my program, I have a pyramid. I call it the Fit Boss Pyramid, and it's foundationally built on purpose. And the first thing is your body, because if you take care of your body chemically changes how your mind reacts to things, right? And so then we start talking about the mind, where we start talking about your mindset, how you're triggered, how you go through those things. But we also talk about mindset with habits, belief systems, and routines that are in your life. And we move up that ladder where we start talking about your significant relationships, friends, and all the way up to the top to your legacy. So when we really talk about what it takes to become a fit boss or become the best version of you, I really focus on making sure you make that paradigm shift before you start to do any type of work. So I just wanted to say that. Hopefully that came across clear and people understand where I'm at, man. But that's where I'm at right now. Shorty, I want to, again, I wasn't playing, bro. I got to get this fit boss. I might have to do a little motivational speaking on top of it.
Now let's do it. But I wanted to say something to you. Don't downplay your position as far as being motivational. And what I mean by that is, people look at you that don't know you and they see that product. I want that product. I want to look like that. But they don't know all of the stuff you did to get there.
Right.
And I might start, okay, you got me working out with the 25 dumbbells. But as soon as it gets to 40, I'm like, yo, man, it's kind of hurt. I don't want to do this no more. Mm-hmm. But you're standing there saying, no, if you want to get here, this is what you need to do.
Right.
People go to church. They don't go to church looking for actual God. They go to church for motivation in their religion. Business people, banks, they send us out for motivational talks all the time because they want us to be motivated. So believe me, never downplay the part that you play for motivating people. You do a great job at that, and it's needed. And what's so odd is when you go to therapy, they tell you getting in shape is a part of your mental health. And and I'm just a big proponent of men, women, human beings. We operate on 3 frequencies: mind, body, and soul. And they all have to work together in order for you to become one person. And that was one thing I noticed. Spiritually, I was gone spiritually. Mentally, I got nobody to pray to. I got nothing to believe in. I don't even believe in myself. Where's the motivation? And my body totally took the whole brunt of all of that. So, I think it's really important, anybody out there that got depression, I just want to tell you, they got free telephone numbers. Google those telephone numbers. They got people that just sit there and talk to you. If you don't have insurance, they have free places that'll give you help. You got to set up an appointment, but go see that, it's very important. Don't sit in that, and like I said, I'm not a therapist or anything, but the first thing I'd advise you to do, take a shower, change your bed linen, get rid of all of that negativity from yesterday, because today's a new day and you could be great today. Find something great to do. And guess what's great? Doing something different than what you did yesterday. It doesn't have to be big. My big isn't your big, or isn't another person's big. Judge it for yourself. Don't let other people judge what your big should be. You don't need that. Go have fun. Buy yourself an ice cream. Get dressed and take yourself out to dinner. Celebrate yourself. Love yourself. That's important.
Word. Z, we're going to be heading out. So I want to get you got a podcast you're going to be starting soon?
Yeah. So for me, it's going to be, it's going to be Fit Boss. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on all the platforms. Right now we're in the making. We've already started some of the episodes already, but just getting it launched. But I will be talking about, actually, to be honest with you, to go back to Shorty's part, is I got to a place where I've kind of got I'm removing the layers that are in front so we can talk about the real things. These podcasts are going to help both men and women, but specifically, talking about where those real struggles are at and talking about just real things. I'm not going to hear and be like, give me 5 things I can do. I'm going to talk to you about real things that you need for your life, then hopefully provoke you to start making those changes that you need. And the most incredible thing about it is I feel like that space, I've been waiting to be in that space, and it's about to be on. So I definitely will put out there everything that everything that's going to be on my platform is going to be under my name. So you'll look for it under Zimbalist Carter. From there, man, it's going to be crazy. I'm going to be doing a lot more coming out, especially by the beginning of June coming up. It's going to be dropping. So I'll be doing one podcast a week. You can watch it. I won't be going live. I'll actually be doing it and posting it on my YouTube channel. I'll post some links on Facebook and stuff like that for people to connect with me. But other than that,
you'll be on Spotify as well too, right?
Oh yeah, Spotify, YouTube, right. Apple, and all that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks. And so you can find Zimbalist at Zimbalist Carter. I think he's also on all the socials. And Shorty, how can everybody find you?
Right now I'm on IG Live, and like I said, you can go to my website, thenowandthenshow.com. You can listen to my new album, The Hoffa Box. Go check that out. Cop it. I got some merchandise. Yo, I gotta send y'all some shirts too. I'm gonna get y'all all some shirts. In fact, I'm shipping out my shirts today, so I'll make sure I get y'all out some. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna text you for your address and everything, so I get y'all something. I really want to thank y'all.
I need 2X.
2X.
So
I was gonna say the extra mediums, Zim. I don't
know. Okay. Come on, man.
Yeah, I gotta make sure I got receipts now since you said it live on Q's Lounge.
Yeah.
You make sure you don't forget. We'll pull up on you.
I got you.
Hey, Tanisha just said she's celebrating walking past Wingstop. Good job. Wingstop's the business and fries too. Great job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. So I'm not a fitness coach, but I'm gonna tell you, sometimes you got to go in and get you what you want. The brother said today, what do you like? And if you like wings, get you some wings. But you ain't got to eat wings every day. No. So I thank you, brothers. This show has been like phenomenal. I am so glad that you guys are both here. Shorty, I really appreciate your vulnerability and your trust. What people don't know is that this is my Virgo twin. This is my brother. This is my Virgo twin. This brother from all the way across the country was born the day after me in the same year. So when I talk to this man, there is so much like connection. It is crazy. And so I thank God that, he's, interweaved our lives to be able to be connected. This won't be the last time that, I've already told you that we'll be able to do a live together. We're actually going to go on live on Instagram because we're going to do that right after the show. So be looking for that. But we're definitely going to have you back because I got some more conversation about hip hop that we want to talk about. But I do appreciate you advocating for men's health and mental awareness, mental health, and just the vulnerability all the way around, man. And you blessed me today. So thank you. And Z, as always, I love you. You know what I mean? And you guys know where to find Z at. You can always find both of these brothers through me as well if you can't find them. So you can follow us on Q's Lounge. So I just want to thank you guys, the moderator. Thank you guys for being on the show, and we'll see you guys soon. Yeah. So thank you, everybody. This was an awesome show. There was a lot of things that were shared that are really important. I think about just really appreciating what Shorty revealed and shared. It's really uncommon, for men to be able to share their vulnerability. I mean, he's gone through some healing and he's had the revelations and he shared some very great points. One of the things that he mentioned that I think is important, is that he didn't know he had depression. And so one of those things, if you're struggling with whatever that's going on in your life, that if you spend some time, I don't know if you journal, I always recommend journaling, but if you spend some time, listening to your thoughts, and checking your own patterns, you might find out that maybe you might need to give a call to the therapist and set that appointment, because we have a lot of people that are living, across this country, across the world, who are living with depression. And the only way, really to really find out is, going to see that therapist and then talking, to a friend. For me, I'm always going to encourage, a relationship, with the Father, because there's spiritual needs that we have that are being underserved, and we need you know, the one thing that is our source, that, I mean, without our spirit, we don't exist. And so that's something that I'm always going to encourage. But, you know, reach out for help. You know, if something in your life, if you're not managing your money well, the brother talked today about if your house, you know, you can't keep a clean house, you know what I mean? And then we talked also too about our physical body, what condition our physical body is in. You know, if we're struggling to get going in our health, you know, those are just some things, some signs for you, some red flags, some, you know, some warning signs to maybe get some help and start talking to friends. And it may take a while, and that's okay. You know, today, another thing that, you know, was taken away was the fact that we do need to just be present. You know, we need to be present. We don't need to look at ourselves as though if we lose 20 pounds, everything's going to go away. That's not, you know, that's not realistic. Ask yourself, am I living a double life? You know, am I saying I'm just fine? You know, am I living a double life where I'm doing things and going places I really don't want to be, or I know that are not, you know, not good for me? And the one thing about this, the spiritual, you know, work, you know, and having a relationship with the Father, and also getting therapy, is that you start to get clarity in your mind, and wisdom is something that'll also help you to really be able to help define, you know, the things that you're struggling with. And there's some things that we're hearing. You know, we'll hear things in our mind, we'll hear things in our life, we'll hear what people are saying and not what they said. And there'll be some things that are you know, coming down on us in a way that we can be in a dark place, but wisdom will allow for you to shed light, you know, and to give you clarity. And so these are just some really important things that I hope that you all took something. I just, again, want to thank everybody for staying with us for so long. Please, again, follow me on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. I am really thankful for all those who have been following and supporting. This is all just done in love. You know what I mean? I don't have anything to sell you, you know, nothing at all. And all I hope for is that in some way that you are touched, moved, you know, encouraged. You know, Q's Lounge is a safe space. And every time you get into this space, is going to be something that I hope will touch your hearts, because everything, like I said, is a matter of the heart. Again, I'm streaming on all platforms, as you see: Apple, Spotify, Amazon. Just, you know, Google it and you'll find it. And I appreciate your feedback. I appreciate the, you know, the messages that I received. And again, just thank you so much for allowing me to share this space with you, and allow me and the guests to speak with you. But that's it. This Saturday, you guys. God bless you. Have a great day, and we'll see you guys real soon next week. Peace.